Let me talk to you about something deeper than just love or attraction. This is about why some women leave a mark on a man's soul that he can never erase. It's not about beauty or charm. It's about something rarer, something stronger, the kind of strength that shines brightest when the world turns dark. We're talking about the woman who stands tall when others try to break her down, the one who doesn't just survive the fire, but becomes it. You see, life doesn't always hand you hard times by accident. Sometimes, people set the fire on purpose, just to watch you burn. They throw the stone, then hide their hand. But the woman we're speaking of, she doesn't crumble. She doesn't beg. She stands there like a lighthouse in a raging sea, unmoving, unshaken, a beacon of dignity. And a man, no matter how far he roams, never forgets that kind of light. Because while others may lose themselves in the storm, she becomes the calm inside of it. As Carl Jung once said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And when a woman shows up as her true self, even when life is trying to tear her apart, that's unforgettable. That's the kind of woman who leaves fingerprints on a man's soul. If this message speaks to you, if you believe in becoming stronger, wiser, and truer to yourself, then do me a favor. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Let's spread this light. Now, let's dig even deeper into what makes this quality so rare, so powerful, and why men, no matter how hard they try, can never truly let go of a woman like this. Chapter 1. What makes a woman unforgettable? Why men never let go of women who carry this fire. Carl Jung. Why is it that some women remain unforgettable in the hearts of men, even long after they've parted ways? What is it about these women that leaves such a deep imprint on the soul? It isn't just beauty, charm, or even love. It's something more enduring, more powerful. It's the strength they carry, especially in the face of harm that wasn't accidental, but deliberate. The kind of harm that tests not just your heart, but your spirit. And yet, she rises. Imagine a tree in the middle of a storm. Winds whip at its branches, lightning splits the sky, but the roots, oh the roots, hold steady beneath the surface. That's the kind of woman we're talking about. A woman who doesn't just survive the storm, she becomes part of it. She learns to dance in the rain, not because it's easy, but because she knows she was built to withstand it. Carl Jung once said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." This is the essence of the unforgettable woman. She chooses what to become, even after the world tries to mold her into something lesser. This choice, to stay rooted in her truth, is what makes her impossible to forget. But maybe you're wondering, what exactly makes this kind of strength so rare? Why does it captivate a man, even haunt him at times? Let's dive deeper. Loyalty. But not the kind you might think. This isn't about sticking around when things get toxic. It's about being loyal to herself, first and foremost. She doesn't bend her values just to keep someone around. She doesn't betray her own heart to make someone else comfortable. That kind of loyalty, to one's own soul, is rare in a world where people often trade their integrity for approval. A man senses this. Even if he doesn't have the words for it, he feels it deep in his bones, like standing near a mountain, solid, unmoving, a reminder of something ancient and true. Life will throw challenges your way, but not all of them are accidental. Some people will test your limits, push your buttons, try to break you just to see if they can. They'll hand you the match and dare you to light it. But here's where the unforgettable woman stands apart. She doesn't set herself on fire to keep others warm. She holds the match in her hand, looks them in the eye, and says, "Not today." This is resilience, and it's a rare gift. Carl Jung taught that the greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of its parents. But what about the burden we carry when we let the pain of others dictate how we show up in the world? The woman who refuses to carry that burden who chooses to heal rather than harden, is the one who rises. She doesn't allow betrayal, neglect, or cruelty to make her bitter. She lets it make her better. That's unforgettable. And in a world filled with masks and mirrors, where everyone's trying to be what they think others want, authenticity is a revolutionary act. The woman who shows up as herself, unapologetically, unfiltered, is like fresh air. You can't bottle that. You can't fake it. A man who has breathed that air even once will remember it long after the world tries to fill his lungs with something else. But don't mistake her softness for weakness. Forgiveness is one of her greatest strengths. She forgives not because others deserve it, but because she deserves peace. She understands that holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. And so, she lets go. Not because it's easy, but because she knows the price of carrying that weight. Forgiveness, in her hands, is not surrender. It's liberation. Now, let's talk about self-worth. She doesn't beg for love. She doesn't chase validation. She knows she is worthy, not because someone tells her so, but because she has claimed it for herself. She builds boundaries like a gardener builds fences, not to keep people out, but to protect what's growing inside. And the right people, the ones who respect those boundaries, find their way in. The world tries to teach women to play small, to shrink themselves, to apologize for taking up space. But the unforgettable woman refuses. She knows that shrinking doesn't serve anyone, not herself, not the people around her. And men, they notice. Even if they can't explain it, they feel the power of a woman who knows her worth. Life doesn't hand you strength, it demands it. And for the woman who chooses to rise above the victim mentality, who looks at her scars and sees not shame, but survival, that strength becomes her crown. She stands in front of her pain, doesn't hide from it, doesn't blame others endlessly. She says, yes, this happened. But this is not the end of my story. That kind of woman rewrites the narrative, not just for herself, but for everyone watching. Pain can either break you or build you. The unforgettable woman chooses the latter. She turns her wounds into wisdom, her setbacks into stepping stones. She doesn't just survive, she thrives. She takes the ashes of what was meant to destroy her and turns them into something beautiful. Like a phoenix, she rises, again and again. And that kind of power, it stays with a man forever. Carl Jung reminded us that your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. The woman who dares to do that, who faces herself honestly, who learns, grows, and becomes, she is the woman a man never lets go of, not in memory, not in spirit. Chapter 2. What Men See and Never Forget. To every woman who has been bruised by life's battles, who has stood at the edge of breaking but chose instead to rise, you are not just surviving, you are building a legacy. Your strength is the imprint you leave behind, and it's not something the world forgets easily. It's the kind of force that lingers in the minds of those who tried to break you, not as regret, but as a haunting sense of awe. A man might walk away, time might pass, but the memory of a woman who stood tall through intentional harm, who didn't just endure, but grew stronger, sticks like the scent of rain on dry earth, impossible to ignore. Carl Jung once said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain. And it's through that pain, through that conscious decision to evolve, that you become unforgettable." What do men see and never forget? They see resilience, but not just the kind that gets you through the day. They see a woman who transformed pain into power. Resilience, in its truest form, isn't about pretending you're okay when you're not. It's about sitting with the pain, feeling every sharp edge of it, and still choosing to move forward. It's about turning wounds into wisdom, scars into stories of survival. Imagine a piece of iron, bent, twisted, thrown into fire. The heat doesn't destroy it, it reshapes it, makes it stronger. That's what resilience does to you. You don't come out of the fire the same, but you come out unbreakable. And when a man sees that, when he sees you've been through storms that would have flattened others, yet you still stand. He knows he's witnessed something rare. But resilience isn't the only thing that leaves an indelible mark. Authenticity, the raw, unfiltered truth of who you are, cements it. The world is crowded with masks, with people playing roles, hiding their flaws, pretending to be something they're not. But you show up as yourself, bruised, imperfect, real. You wear your story like armor, not as something to hide, but as proof that you've lived, that you've survived, that you've grown. Carl Jung spoke often of the shadow self, the hidden parts of us that we try to suppress. But the unforgettable woman embraces her shadow. She doesn't shy away from the messy parts of her past. She stands in the light and says, "This is me. Take it or leave it." And that kind of vulnerability, that kind of courage to be fully seen, that's magnetic. That's the kind of honesty that makes a man realize he's encountered something genuine in a world full of illusions. And then there's grace, the quiet strength that doesn't need to shout. Grace is not weakness, it's strength under perfect control. It's the ability to rise above the noise, to respond to cruelty without losing your composure. A graceful woman doesn't engage in petty battles. She sets boundaries with calm certainty. She doesn't need to prove her worth with loud words or aggressive actions. Her presence speaks for itself. Picture a swan gliding across a stormy lake, calm above the surface, powerful beneath. That's grace. And when a man encounters it, he feels it in his bones. It's a reminder that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. But the impact? It lasts forever. And at the root of all this power lies self-worth. Not the kind that's loud and boastful, but the quiet, unshakable knowing that you are enough. You don't need to chase love or attention. You don't need to lower your standards to fit into someone else's small world. You hold yourself with a certain dignity, and the world responds to that. Jung believed that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. A woman who knows her worth has done that work. She's dug deep, faced her fears, healed her wounds, and come out knowing who she is. And because of that, she won't settle for less than she deserves. She walks away from anything that threatens her peace, and in doing so, teaches others how to treat her. This kind of self-worth radiates. It's in how she speaks, how she moves, how she sets boundaries without apology. And that presence, that unshakable foundation, that's unforgettable. Men may meet many women, but the woman who carries herself with this kind of inner knowing leaves a mark that time can't erase. Men see this, they feel it. Even if they don't fully understand it, they recognize the difference. Because a woman like this doesn't need them. She chooses them. And that choice, made from a place of strength, not desperation, is powerful. It's the difference between needing someone to fill a void and wanting someone to share in your abundance. And here's a secret they don't tell you. The men who tried to break you, they remember you too, but not in the way they might have hoped. They remember how you rose, how you stood taller, how their attempts to diminish you only made you shine brighter. That memory haunts them, not because they regret losing you, but because they know they could never break you. And that, in the end, is the ultimate power. So, to every woman listening, know this: your resilience, your authenticity, your grace, your self-worth, they are not just qualities, they are your power. They are what make you unforgettable. Chapter 3. The mystery of feminine energy, softness as power. There's a mystery in the air around a woman who knows how to be both soft and strong. She carries it in her voice, in her gaze, in the way she moves through the world. Not rushed, not hardened, but grounded in something deeper. This is the mystery of feminine energy, the delicate balance between the warrior and the nurturer, the fire and the water. And it is this very balance that makes her unforgettable. The world has tried, time and time again, to convince women that to be strong means to be hard, that softness is a liability. That vulnerability is weakness. But the woman who has truly done the work, the one who has explored her inner world, who knows her wounds and her wisdom, she understands a deeper truth. She knows that softness, when rooted in strength, is one of the most powerful forces on earth. Carl Jung spoke often about the balance of opposites within us, the masculine and the feminine energies that make up the human psyche. He believed that true wholeness comes when we embrace both, not when we suppress one for the other. The woman who taps into her feminine energy fully and unapologetically doesn't become weaker. She becomes whole. And that wholeness is magnetic. It calls to something ancient inside a man's soul. It reminds him of balance, of peace, of a place he may not have even realized he was searching for. Softness as power is like water. Water flows, it bends, it yields, but it carves through mountains and shapes entire landscapes. It's gentle in the palm of your hand, yet it can cut through stone. That is feminine energy at its finest, yielding but unbreakable, gentle but commanding. And the woman who embodies this doesn't have to shout her strength. She carries it quietly, like the ocean holds its depth. When a man encounters a woman like this, it leaves a mark on him. Whether he understands it or not, her energy stirs something within him. He may not be able to explain why, but her presence lingers like the warmth of the sun long after it has set. It's because she offers something that the world rarely does. She offers a space where strength and softness live together. She can challenge him, inspire him, but also soothe him, comfort him. She becomes both the fire that ignites his ambition and the calm that eases his weary heart. In the rush and grind of today's world, many men have learned to live in their masculine energy almost exclusively, focused on doing, achieving, conquering. But when they meet a woman deeply rooted in her feminine, it offers them something they didn't know they needed, a return to balance. She becomes not just a partner, but a mirror, reflecting back the parts of him that have long been neglected, the parts that crave rest, emotional connection, vulnerability. Jung believed that these energies, the masculine and the feminine, exist in all of us. But the woman who fully owns her feminine energy without apologizing for it becomes a catalyst. She awakens something dormant in a man, inviting him to explore his own depth, his own heart. And that invitation, it's unforgettable, because in a world that rewards hardness and disconnection, she becomes the oasis. But don't mistake her softness for submission. Her softness is a choice, not a default. She can fight when she needs to. She can draw lines in the sand and hold them with the fiercest strength. But she doesn't lead with aggression. She leads with love. She speaks with kindness, but her words carry weight. She listens, not because she's passive, but because she understands the power of holding space. And when she loves, she does so fully, without holding back, without pretending. That kind of love is rare. That kind of love is remembered. Think of the moon, soft, glowing, gentle. But it pulls tides, shapes the rhythms of the earth. Feminine energy is like that, subtle but powerful, soft but commanding. And the woman who lives in this energy, who embraces it fully, becomes unforgettable because she doesn't conform to what the world expects of strength. She redefines it. Jung once said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." The woman who embodies her feminine energy transforms not just herself, but the man who dares to come close. She invites him to soften, to open, to be vulnerable. And in that vulnerability, in that transformation, he finds something he never knew he needed. A home, not in a place, but in a person. This mystery, this balance, is what makes her unforgettable. It's not a trick, it's not a strategy. It's her truth, lived fully and unapologetically. And a man, no matter how far he roams, never forgets the woman who made him feel that way. Like he could finally set down his armor and just be. So, to every woman listening, remember that your softness is not your weakness. It's your superpower. In a world that tells you to harden, dare to stay soft. In a world that rewards noise, dare to be quiet strength. Because the woman who holds both fire and water in her hands, who walks the line between warrior and nurturer, that's the woman no man ever forgets. If this stirred something inside you, if you feel the call to embrace both your strength and your softness, don't let this be the end of the conversation. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this message with someone who needs to hear it. Let's remind the world that true power lies in balance.